Alright, today I'm going to be teaching you how to steam milk. I've already filled the pitcher with milk. I filled it to just below the spout. I use 2%, which is the kind of milk that we use in most of our drinks here. Even though we call this a steam wand, what we're going to be doing is frothing milk, because you want to get a froth, which is a textured milk with almost invisible bubbles, so that you just have this nice rich froth. If we do this right, this is what we'll end up with at the end. So it's the bubbles are almost invisible, and it's shiny, and it's sweet tasting. And that's called, sometimes it's called froth, or sometimes it's called textured milk. So I'm going to just set this over here. All right. First thing you're going to do is bleed the steam wand, and that gets the air. Whoops! It gets the air out of the wand that might have built up if it's been sitting here and you haven't made a drink in a while. So that's done with this lever up here. You just flip it down and flip it back really fast. That takes care of any extra steam. I'm going to just walk you through this before we actually start. So the first thing that you're going to do is put your wand in just the tip, just into the milk, just at the surface. So you're going to position it right at the edge of the cup, of the pitcher rather. And then when you turn on the steam, you're going to turn it all the way on, put this lever all the way down, and you're going to hear a spurting sound. And at that point, you're going to have your fingers at the bottom of the cup. You should have it there before this starts. And you're going to keep them there with the wand, with the milk spurting, until the milk is no longer cold, until it no longer feels cold on your fingers. You notice I didn't say not until it gets warm, but just until you no longer feel it being cold. And at that point, you're going to then put your hands on the side and submerge the wand to the seam. So just see that seam right there? And you should no longer have any spurting then. So the spurting only happens when the wand is at the surface and your fingers on the bottom. So when it's no longer cold, you bring it up, and that stops the spurting. And this is key now, and you don't move it anymore side to side. You just keep it stable there. And you want to watch for when you want to get movement of the milk, fast movement of the milk. You'll see it's kind of like a roiling around, and maybe you'll get a little tornado there in the middle and a little whirlpool. But if that doesn't happen, you don't need it. You just need the milk to be moving very quickly. And you're gonna lower this as you're gonna lower the pitcher as the froth is formed, so that the surface of the milk stays right at that seam. But again, you don't move it around back and forth trying to get a better position. Like I said, this is key to having good froth. And you're going to go until the wand is at 130, or until the temperature is 130, and then we're going to stop. Okay, so let's start. My finger is going to go to the bottom of the pitcher as soon as I pull this down. Spurting. No longer cold. I got milk movement. I'm not moving it around. I'm just going to lower to try to keep the milk at that seam. And I'm at 130. Stop. It all happens pretty quickly. I didn't say this in the beginning, but you want to start with a cold pitcher and cold milk. And the colder the better when you're starting out, because that slows down the frothing process and gives you as much time as possible to think about what you're doing. It's not so important after you get to be experienced, but in the beginning it's pretty important. Okay, so now I've got this froth, and it looks pretty good. Let's get a spoon here. You see that? I don't see any of the air bubbles. That's exactly what you want. Now you take your cup with your espresso in it, and let's get this out of the way. You're going to want to pour right down the middle until you get the cup about half full, and then you dump the rest of it. These bubbles around here are benign. That's just from the espresso. What you're looking at is this milk, and you see it's beautiful froth. It's textured, it's shiny, and it's making my mouth water because I know how sweet it is. It's going to be just excellent. That's the kind of drink that you want. And that's how you froth milk.